Starmer isn't just a bad Prime Minister, he's the worst we've ever had. His darkest secrets have been exposed, explaining everything from his EU obsession to Labour's catastrophic collapse. Labour's legislative incompetence is reaching new heights. They openly admit their own laws are unworkable, creating chaos. Impact assessments are published far too late, leaving businesses and citizens scrambling. The Cabinet Office has had to intervene, reminding departments of their basic duties. The Employment Rights Bill, a supposed Labour triumph, has been condemned by the watchdog, warning of potentially millions of pounds in costs for businesses. It's as if Labour is attempting to help workers by crippling the companies that employ them. This isn't a few minor errors, it's a complete legislative meltdown. They're creating ineffective, damaging laws, and they can't even assess the impact properly. How many more failures are they hiding? This is bad, truly bad, and it's only the beginning. While Labour grapples with its legislative ineptitude, something far worse is happening. Brexit was supposed to be about taking back control. Starmer's new EU security partnership suggests otherwise. This deal could compromise national defence and damage our relationship with NATO. Is Starmer willing to risk our NATO alliance to appease Brussels? This reset of our relationship with the EU comes at a devastating cost: our sovereignty. New asylum agreements could see thousands of asylum seekers resettled in the UK annually. Reports suggest up to 30,000, the population of a small town. The security partnership could grant Brussels influence over key defence decisions, allowing unelected EU bureaucrats to dictate how we protect our borders. Sensitive intelligence could be shared with EU countries, even against our best interests. Experts warn this undermines our relationship with NATO, the alliance that has protected us for decades. Nigel Farage rightly calls any move towards a European defence union a strategic mistake. We can't jeopardise our NATO commitments. This security partnership might be just the tip of the iceberg. If Starmer is willing to compromise on national security, what else will he concede? Our fishing waters? Our ability to make our own laws? Will we become a rule taker like Norway or Switzerland? Starmer isn't making Brexit work, he's systematically reversing it. Every concession is a step back towards EU control. We could become an EU member in all but name. And the worst part? He's being completely opaque about these negotiations. This is a betrayal of the Brexit referendum. Starmer's plans for our borders are equally alarming. Brexit was supposed to mean controlling our borders. Think again. Labour is secretly planning to throw our borders wide open, potentially leading to an influx of tens of thousands of migrants annually. A new asylum pact with the EU could see the UK resettling up to 30,000 asylum seekers each year. Hidden in Labour's manifesto was a clause that didn't rule out aligning our immigration policies with EU standards. Now we know what that means, letting Brussels dictate who enters our country. The impact will be massive. Our already strained public services will face even greater pressure. Increased competition for jobs could depress wages. Experts warn of long-term consequences for British society, a fundamental shift in our communities, our culture, our way of life. The EU is also pushing for a youth mobility scheme, another way to open our borders. The British people are not on board with this. Public opinion on immigration is deeply divided, yet Starmer seems to be ignoring the concerns of his constituents. This isn't just about numbers, it's about the very fabric of British society. Starmer's immigration plans could fundamentally alter the face of Britain. Labour's alignment with EU interests is suspicious. There's more than meets the eye. Their sudden fixation on the EU isn't just ideological, there are financial ties. Former EU officials are landing cushy jobs with Labour, and party leaders are holding secretive meetings in Brussels. There's a money trail, and Labour is being remarkably tight-lipped about its funding sources. Experts are raising concerns about foreign influence on UK policy. This goes beyond trade deals, it affects our laws, borders, and national security. Starmer's proposed security partnership, while presented as simple cooperation, could give Brussels a say in how we defend our borders. Labour seems determined to tie Britain back to Europe, bit by bit. Their recruitment of an EU negotiator is another warning sign. This isn't about tweaking policies, it's a long-term plan to increase EU control over the UK. Most people are unaware of what's happening. Starmer is spinning this as a reset, but it's a slap in the face to the 17.4 million who voted for Brexit. The truth is becoming clear, and the impact on Britain is devastating. This isn't about bad policies, it's about the future of our country. While Starmer cozies up to the EU, Britain's economy is struggling. This isn't mere incompetence, it's a deliberate strategy. A weakened Britain is easier to manipulate back into the EU fold. Labour's economic policies are creating chaos, hurting businesses, and they act as if it's nothing. This level of failure should alarm every British citizen. If Labour can't get the basics right, what other disasters await? The economy is in freefall, and the people in charge are failing. Production, construction, and services are all struggling, indicating a widespread economic problem. Businesses are hesitant to invest, creating a vicious cycle. Rachel Reeves, Labour's Chancellor, is under fire for this economic mess. The UK's economic situation is precarious, caught between different economic models, lacking clear direction. Labour's attempts to spin this positively are unconvincing. Our economy is in serious trouble, and the current leadership seems incapable of turning things around. Labour's downfall is becoming increasingly apparent. The recent defection of a key councillor in Rotherham is a symptom of a party in crisis. This councillor didn't just leave Labour, he joined the Conservatives, citing Labour's self-interest and lack of responsiveness to residents' needs. This isn't an isolated incident. The Conservatives have gained numerous council seats from Labour. This defection raises questions about Labour's stability. If the party is this troubled locally, what's happening nationally? Starmer's focus seems to be on international relations, particularly with the EU. On February 3, 2025, Starmer plans to attend an EU leaders' meeting, as if Brexit never happened. The official agenda includes seemingly innocuous topics, but these could have hidden implications. The Youth Mobility Scheme could be a step towards reopening our borders. The Security Pact raises concerns about compromising national security. Easing trade barriers could mean aligning our standards with EU regulations. Experts believe this is just the beginning of a gradual return to EU influence. This reset isn't just a diplomatic move, it's a significant shift away from the Brexit voters chose. Starmer seems to be prioritising EU relations over the will of the British people. Labour's push for EU alignment could have serious economic consequences. Industries that have flourished since Brexit could face tougher competition. The Employment Rights Bill could cost businesses billions.